Hello friends, welcome to yet another raw video. I tend to do these psychic channelings pretty spontaneous. That seems to be the theme. You know, this is kind of a new way of psychic reading, or just, you know, channeling really is the best word, but it is still new for me in a lot of ways. And so, you know, getting used to the process and when I feel beckoned and all that, you know, it's different. But anyways, I know a lot of you who are watching joined me in the last video where I channeled a Lyran group named the Rays of Prometheus. I know those of you who follow me on my website and Instagram, you probably saw that that's something they revealed, especially after the channeling portion of that video, that first channeling with them. And they revealed the name, or, you know, yeah, just we as humans tend to need, you know, that name to identify. So they gave me that, and that's one thing that I'm going to ask them about in the channeling. I have decided to, like, I wrote down some questions. I've decided to make this a little bit more structured than the first channeling I had. Simply meaning that I wrote down a few questions, like 5 questions, that I just want to focus on and ask the Lyrans about the Rays of Prometheus, and, you know, just see what their responses are. Some of the topics, questions that I'll be asking, I have asked personally already, and I have gotten some answers, so it's not completely new for me. It's information that I have downloaded and received, but some of it I'm sure will be new, because even with the first channeling that I did, you know, and that I released here, a lot of that information that came through was new for me, like, and enlightening for me. I went back, you know, rewatched it, watched myself, and I was just like, oh wow, okay. you know, I kind of surprised myself in some ways. It's funny how that happens, but I'm not going to get, you know, I'm not going to stray too far with random conversation here. But yeah, so that is who I'm channeling. And those of you, you know, I'll put those video links, or at least the link to the first Lyran channeling below. You know, it might give you some context, because I'm kind of building, I guess, building upon subject, you know, building upon subject matter. It gets a little bit more detailed or deep with each channeling. I feel like that's how it's going and going to go. So, you know, as far as looking at the dimensions where humanity is at with density, timeline wise, you know, and that kind of stuff, the Lyrans covered a lot of subjects in the last video, but really focused on the polarity and healing the polarity on Earth, and some of that karmic cycle that we've inherited from our galactic family. But also, you know, they touched on some of the psychic and supernatural abilities that are surfacing for humans. You know, talked about that timeline and just the ascension, where we're at right now as a collective, and just what that's looking like. And yeah, so we're just going to expand upon maybe 1 or 2 of those things, but also some new subjects in this video. So without any further ado, I'm going to take a sip of water here, some deep breaths. So those of you joining, if you want to join me in these meditative breaths, just as we center and align and connect, please do. Okay. And so the first question that I'm going to ask is why their group name is the Rays of Prometheus. And that is a fascinating one. So I'm excited to transcribe this. Hello, friends, and all of you gorgeous seekers. Why do we call ourselves the Rays of Prometheus? The mythology, the story of Prometheus is that of ours. It is that of our own. That is our story. So it might benefit some of you to confirm this or to look up the Greek mythology. But we shall tell you. We are a particular group of Lyrans, the Rays of Prometheus here, did get in trouble many years ago. We got in trouble for helping humanity, as is reflected in the story of Prometheus. Yes, we are the descendants of Prometheus. We are the bloodline, we are the ones basically who gave fire to humanity, to Earth, to your timeline. We intervened. And especially the guiding or ruling force at the time saw it more as an intrusion and disrupting your evolvement or the direction that you were being pushed in. But we, the Rays of Prometheus, or our ancestors, stole fire and gave it to humanity. And fire, that light, changed many things for you. We just wanted to help. Our ancestors were just looking to help and support you. As many of you know, many of you are related to us. You have Lyran DNA. Many of you have that galactic heritage to Lyra. Okay, so we see you as family, and we want to at least support you. Maybe hold your hand sometimes along the way, along the path and climb of ascension. But we are also wise enough, we know we can't just walk you through every step. We can't do it for you. But especially in our earlier years, our earlier stages of evolvement, we were very service-based, and we wanted to be of service. We wanted to help you more. And so this is what we did. We stole the fire and gave it to humanity. And this is how you came to be in that Tree of Life depiction, which is talked about in other videos. That's where you first were sitting there with the sun, with that starlight energy, with that light energy. Our ancestors basically initiated that period for you. So yes, we are the descendants of Prometheus, and that is why we are referred to as the Rays of Prometheus. And of course, rays, light, fire, light is fire, fire is light. And rays are many, are they not? We are many. We speak as a collective here. So, in a nutshell, that is why we call ourselves the Rays of Prometheus. And yes, we are here during this time period or timeline to help you. Maybe a better word is guide you. Just guide you, support you during this current ascension period. And again, this is a crucial ascension period, like we talked about previously. Fourth density, heart chakra space. Sitting between the star energy, like represented on the tree of life. You see the light codes and colors are changing. And you are just at an excellent point of that unison period, right? That integration, which of course you are working towards more and still, but okay, we want to reiterate this, especially for those of you who have not heard this message from the past. So here we are, helping again, guiding again. I mean, we look forward to engaging with you more, playing with you, connecting to your cosmic family, your cosmic lineage, and us, with you. But it's not just us reaching out. There are many of you who are actively seeking a stronger connection to the stars, because you are awakening, and a part of that awakening and ascension process and period is your starlight changing, your sun changing, and those codes pouring in, you soaking up that light like a sponge, and that is altering your mindsets, your DNA activating neuro pathways, and all of this is turning a lot of you, especially those of you seeking out this information in this video, for instance, it is activating you and opening you up to this information. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next subject and the next question. Ooh, sorry guys, I have like this itch. Okay, the next question is, how have other planetary value or currency systems differed from what we have had on Earth? What does yours look like? Oh yes, your currency systems, your financial systems, the way you express value in that way is, we'll put it nicely, we'll say medieval. It's not negative judgment, it's not to make you feel bad. It is just the truth. Many of you on Earth, especially you Starseeds and those of you watching and going through the ascension, you know this system, this value system that you've been using called money, it does not work. It does not work for you anymore. It does not work for you and your spiritual growth and where you're at, where you're headed. So, how are our value systems, currency systems different? Ooh, they're so different from yours. We do not have paper money. We do not have coins. We don't have credit cards. We don't even have this digital currency, which has recently showed up on your Earth. We don't use those. We don't have that type of system. If you were to compare it to something that you have seen or heard about on Earth, it would be more like sort of a trade system. Except we don't have to trade physical objects. You know, a cow for a wagon. A chicken for a rabbit. You see what the example is here, you see. We don't have to do those medieval sort of tradings and physical exchanges. Because we have trust, which we touched on in our last channeling. Because we have the trust with ourselves and trust with our neighbors, with our friends, with our family, with our planet, with the animals and creatures on our planet, because we have all of this trust and we are so connected telepathically. Our currency and value system is so very different because of that. Because we have trust, we know of the yin and yang, the push and the pull, the give, the receive, that happens when we ourselves take and when we give back. Because of this wisdom and this trust that we have, when we go to get groceries, when we go to feed ourselves on our planet, our exchange of value is our connection. We speak to the plant, we speak to sometimes the creature, telepathically wise, and we make sort of just a connection, and we come to an understanding, and we resonate that we both need each other, and then we consume and we become one. Okay? And because we are so attuned to our bodies, our light bodies, but our still physical form as well, we are attuned to these bodies, physical body, spiritual body. We know what sustenance, what plant, what creature needs us, and what plant creature we need. And it's just an equal exchange. We can seek that out better. It's like a lot of you on Earth, you have this body awareness. You have a pretty developed body awareness. So whenever your senses say, I really need broccoli, then you follow that urge, you follow that sense that you need broccoli, and you eat that broccoli, and the broccoli is wanting to be a part of you as well, and you merge as one, you see? Because the food you eat, what you take in, becomes you, yes? This is why it's very important what you're going through here too with your earth and your food system. But yes, this is all related, even to, like we're talking about, the value system and the differing aspects. So you see, this may be a lot to process at first here, but we hope that what we have conveyed already gives you an understanding, an idea of our value system and how it differs You see, it's just an equal exchange between the spirits of things with our planet. We don't have to give the system or the thing money to have it, to eat it, to supply our needs. And some of you worry, especially with your universal basic income currency changes that are being tailored and trying to morph with, you know, this new frame of mind that you're in, that you're evolving to. Many of you have these fears that other people, your fellow humans, neighbors, will get lazy. That if they have free income, that they won't ever work or give back to society again. You fear that if they're just able to live, that you fear that if they don't have bills to pay, that will make them lazy, that they won't want to put in effort with their planet and with their communities. This is a lie. This is a fear that you've been programmed with. Everyone will want to still partake in your earth, will want to give in some way, but it won't be forced. That's the big difference between where you've been and where you're going. Everyone will be able to choose their path, their study, their job, but your jobs won't be the same, so we don't really like using that term because it's not going to feel or be like a job. So we'll just say your path, your purpose. Everyone will be able to choose that. You want to be a singer? You go be a singer and you're still taken care of. You're still able to have a shelter, to have a home. Your bills, your food, your needs met. You know, if you want to be a spiritual leader, or if you want to be a doctor, if you want to grow plants, be a part of agriculture, whatever it is, you'll be taken care of. This is the new system, and this is how we operate as well. You get to serve your purpose and your calling, no matter how focused or wide it is. You are still valued the same. You are still valued the same. You are still taken care of the same. You are still provided for the same, and you don't have to have this hierarchical set of jobs, hierarchical set of money and pay scales. You don't have to have that. You don't want that. It's enslavement. You are breaking free. Do not, most of you, especially watching, want to be free? We know, to some of you, this sounds too utopian. It sounds too perfect. It sounds too wonderful. Yet the more you get into this vibration, the more you'll realize it is so very natural. There's so many star systems, dimensions, densities that operate this way. Their value monetary system operates this way. It's actually very natural. It's not out of this world or like something that only happens in heaven when you die. No. And that's the thing. A lot of you starseeds watching, Joshua, this starseed here, you are bringing heaven to earth, heaven on earth. That is that midpoint heart chakra timeline connection that we've been making and describing to you. Bringing heaven up here to earth down here, where the physical and the non-physical meet. So you see, because of these key factors, going back to the trust again, trusting ourselves more. You've been taught not to trust yourself. So that first must change, and you must be confident. Confidence. Where there is confidence, there is trust, and vice versa. And then, yes, trust others more. Put your trust and your faith back in others, your neighbor more. You've been taught not to trust others as well. You've been taught to trust government. You've been taught to trust corporations. You've been taught to trust these hierarchical systems and organizations put in place, like the CDC and everything. Okay? You have to come back in. You have to turn back to yourself. You do not need organizations. You do not need corporations. You do not need religions. You do not need governments to tell you what is good for you, what is right for you, what is safe for you. You already know. In fact, you know better than they do. So this is where you are getting reacquainted with yourself, your power, your freedom. This all relates to the currency system and how your currency system will change and how it will look and reflect more like ours and the other star systems out there. Yes, some of you are probably a little confused. How will you not have a job anymore and survive? The 9-to-5 job routine is to go away. That's not... No. You do not have to be bound by linear time. And you do not have to meet a certain amount of hours to be worthy of care and support and serving your soul's purpose and calling. So you will see more of these alternative value systems emerge because it is the darker timeline trying to match but still enslave you, like match the ascension process going on but still have a system in place to enslave you. You see, so that's why we have these other systems that are emerging within your world and society right now, like universal basic income. Is it more progressive? Sure. Is it maybe a step in the right direction along your journey to the full freedom of value and breaking free from money? Yes, it's a step in the right direction. Is it the end point? No. No, because you should not have any kind of system like that. It's all going to be about that equal exchange. We will touch on some of this some more with the upcoming questions and answers we share. Okay, so Ooh, I'm just kind of looking at my time. I fall out of time whenever I do these channelings, so I have to, like, you know, I'm just curious where I'm at. Okay. Anyways, let's move on to the next question. Can you share some details on how our relationship and interaction with our Earth is changing in alignment with the fourth density? The differences and what that looks like. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, this is an exciting subject in question. Your Earth. Ooh. Many of you are getting more reacquainted with your Earth, with the plants, with the creatures, with the animals that walk it. This is beautiful. This is partially that Uranus and Taurus placement that is going on. But it is much, much more. There's a reason why many of you are getting more acquainted with nature again. Yes. This is a huge part of your ascension. Your interaction with your Earth, your connection to your Earth how is it changing? Going back to telepathy, okay? Telepathy is bridging so many things for you. So many things for you on Earth. Telepathy bridges so many things. And one of the things telepathy bridges is that with your connection to the Earth. You're not just going to be using telepathy to communicate with us, your cosmic family. You're not going to just use telepathy to talk with each other, with other humans. You're going to be using telepathy to talk to your Earth, to the plants, to the animals. You know those fantasy movies and books that you have where the animals talk, where the plants talk and they sing? That is, in a sense, a true reality that will soon be yours in this new fourth density that you are in and growing into. Okay, but it's not going to be like in the films exactly. It's not going to be like you have been programmed to imagine, really. But some of this programming is to help prepare you. So, think about telepathy. And we have touched on telepathy before. Joshua has had his own experiences and shared some of what that looks like. Telepathy, especially, let's imagine between the plants and between the animals. You're exchanging energetic waves. It's more about the geometry, and then you form that into a picture, and it's therefore symbol and pictures. Basically, that you are exchanging with the plant, with the animal, with the other human. And then also you're exchanging a feeling, an emotion, a feeling with those geometric patterns, with those pictures. Okay? You're doing all this with not just your mind, your heart is engaged too. The brain-heart coherence, like we brought up before, yes? Some of you remember. The heart-brain coherence. As above, so below as above. So through this process, you will be communicating so much more detailed. You won't have the miscommunication problems that you've had on your world with each other, or with the plant, or with the animal, or with the ground itself. You're not going to have those miscommunications. You're not going to have as many mistakes because you will be understanding and communicating better, more efficiently, more detailed Do you see? You can only put so much into verbal words. With picture symbols, with emotion and feeling, translating that, sharing that, downloading that, sending that. So much more detailed than verbal words can express. So much more is expressed and felt and understood within picture and emotion. It is going to be so intimate, for that reason it is such an intimate way of communicating. It's beautiful, it's going to shock you as well. Because yes, you're going to hear thoughts, feelings, see images that you're not used to seeing. You're going to see the truth. You see? That is why Leo and Aquarius are most associated with truth. So it will be a little biting, a little sharp for some of you, especially at the beginning. But then, of course, like you have been taught, the truth sets you free, does it not? But it is uncomfortable, especially in the beginning. So yes, your connection to your planet, to your Earth, is, this is what it looks like. You'll be communicating, you'll be able to sense the presence, like if you feel yourself getting sick, which you won't really get sick or get disease anymore, like we touched on in the last channeling video too, that is to go away. That it doesn't make sense in your new density. And here's one of the reasons why. Because you will be able to communicate with all around you, your planet, humans, plants, animals, the earth. When you start feeling imbalanced or sick, but the slightest sense of imbalance, you're going to know exactly what plant to connect with, what herb, what medicine to connect with. Because that frequency, that vibration will call out to you, you will call to it, and then you will consume, and it will become you, and you will be balanced again. You will be healed. You see, this is a part of the 4th density graduation. And yes, this earth connection, it is so beautiful. How do you think your ancestors knew what to eat? You've been taught that they were lesser than you, that they were more incoherent, that they were stupid. That's not true, not for all of them. Many of you know you've had higher civilizations, more intelligent civilizations on Earth before you. How did they know that certain mushrooms were bad for them? How did they know that certain plants were good for them? How did they know that certain animals or meats should or should not be consumed or in moderation? How did they know? Was it a government telling them? No. Was it corporate organizations telling them? No. They knew. They had the intuition. They had the knowing. They had this telepathic connection, which you are developing, and many of you starseeds watching, because this is very growth-filled. This is growth-filled information, so I'm sure there are many of you starseeds watching. You understand, you know, this is already happening with many of you. Even in the subtlest ways, yes. And this is another reason why, like we talked about in the last channeling, you'll be eating and consuming lighter. Why a lot of you are seeing the lighter diets already taking place. Even this vessel, Joshua, eating lighter doesn't mean that you are lacking nourishment. But you've been programmed to consume, and consume more than you need. And that was the lower density. You are now rising, you are ascending. You are growing closer to the light, like we have given you the archetype for. We've given you the image, you see. Therefore, your eating, your consuming becomes lighter. You just won't have to ingest that lower density way anymore. Remember, you'll be pulling from your environment, from the elements, from the air, from light more. You will be getting more nourishment that way. Not completely. It is a progression. But like us, the Lyrans, as many of you know, on a timeline scale, we specifically are sitting in the 6th density area, that is around the 3rd chakra space, if you need another comparison and image. We are lighter. We rarely ingest or consume physically anymore. We don't have to have physical, dense food so much. Therefore, we become lighter in appearance. So we hope this gives you a good understanding and a curiosity and more of a wonder. Let your imagination go wild and expand from what we've already told you here about your evolving and developing connection with your Earth and planet. Ooh. Okay, so next question. All right, so what is humanity's biggest blockage, and what guidance do you have for us to shift that? Yeah, what is humanity's biggest blockage, and what guidance do you have for us to shift that? Excuse me. You very well know humanity's biggest blockage is that of polarity right now. Pitting one side against the other. Thinking that there is right and wrong, even. And this, I know, is difficult to wrap your head around. We're not saying that there aren't extremes. There are extremes. There are dark forces and lighter forces. But then there's always the in-between. And that is where you want to live, right there. Within that unified field, that balance point. Polarity, polarity. Healing the polarity. Don't look at things so black and white. Many of you here watching, we know you are progressing very, very beautifully from this. You're doing well. Are you still learning? Yes. There's still some fine details that need scrubbed out. Understanding the importance of male and female. Stop looking at it as Republican and Democrat, as bad or good. There is a time and place really for everything. Within balance. Now, we've touched on this and also survival mode in the last channeling, but we are bringing it up again because it is important for you to understand, for you to grasp, for you to heal and transmute, and therefore ascend and develop these supernatural abilities like your telepathy and everything else. Healing these other things will activate these supernatural abilities more within yourselves. And first, really, that comes is this telepathy. You must be able to communicate more efficiently, more detailed. It is going to change everything. Everything. It's magical. So, survival mode. You have been programmed, again, with your systems, and it's a part of the lower density thinking and timeline as well, breaking out of survival mode. And the mindset of lack has to go. Your Earth and you as a cosmic being are vast, are abundant. There's no room for lack anymore, or just survival mode, where you're barely scraping by, barely living. No, 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 no. This is being healed now as well, on your planet. And of course, your fear in general, just in general. It's speaking in general, your fear. The worldwide pandemic that happened in 2020 was a big lesson, an awakening for most of you in fear. You thought, I might die. The fear of death came up for almost everyone. The fear of survival. How will I feed myself? The fear of harm coming to you from other people's erratic, nonsensical, and wild behavior. Fear, fear, fear. But many of you, especially watching, have brought a lot of that fear into balance. And how did you bring that fear into balance? You brought it into perspective. You observed, and you had time and space, many of you, to observe and to shift perspective, to learn from the fear, to not be afraid of fear. Some of you are wondering what it is specifically you can do, especially you Starseeds, as you're growing and healing all of this. How can you inspire others more around you to move past these things? Lack, survival mode, fears. Your example, simply your example, and sharing your example, your story, your transmutation is inspiration enough. Sure, you can point people to some things that might speed up this process, plant medicines, faithful tools such as crystals, working with the elements, fire, air, water, earth. But the greatest inspiration will be you, will be your individual stories and awakenings, and sharing that information and that self-awareness with others. That is how you can help the most. You don't have to make it any more complicated. And you cannot force others to break free from lack, survival mode, fear. We've made the mistake, us Lyrans, in the past, thinking we were doing good, but we've forced too much that good and that awareness, that awakening onto others, that it actually upset the balance. You see? So do not feel, do not think, do not think you have to force, or that you have to hurry up this process. Let it be. Speeding up this process is speeding up yourself, is working on yourself, is doing this, is sharing. That will speed up the process for others. As above, so below. Duality. Okay. So that's a cue to move on to the next. Okay, so this is the last question I really have. Okay, so I did write down a note with this question, which I'm just going to go ahead and read, but I'm sure the Lyrans here will expand upon this. You've mentioned humanity awakening and activating more supernatural abilities. What does this process look like, and can you give an idea of the timeline? And then I wrote down this because I channeled it before. The 30% of old souls and starseed beings will remember and activate first. Although many people will be accepting and will want to learn from them, expect a short period of what we shall call the witch hunt, a toxic and fear-based power grab. Okay, so yeah, I know that sounds a little scary, but let's expand upon it. We have touched on some of this already. It kind of looks like what you've seen and been forewarned in your movies, your shows, of the people with supernatural abilities, or the superheroes, waking up around the globe and activating their powers, and then those who don't have supernatural abilities, or those who haven't activated them yet, debating about how they should treat or accept or reject the mutants or the superheroes. It's very similar to that, okay? That is an example of what it can kind of look like. Will it look like that exactly? No, not quite. But it is to give you a real image. Many of you already know we would consider around 30% of the human population to be starseeds, which means you are very old souls, or many of you have incarnated freshly. You've had many lives on other planets and systems, but you've incarnated freshly for this time period, an ascension period, specifically on Earth. Some of you have maybe had at least one, maybe a few, some of you, but at least another past life during the Atlantean period and time of higher consciousness, where you are headed again in many ways. So of course, because of your old soul, because you've been through this awakening and timeline shift, ascension period already, you've already been through this. So you are here to help guide, further guide and uplift and support and affirm Earth. Not just the people, not just the other 60-70%, but the Earth itself. The planet, the creatures, the plants, it's a shock wave. It is a shock going through these timeline shifts, these density shifts. Okay? So you are here to sort of help nurture, support, and even teach during this period. Okay? Many will turn to you. That is why you are here. That's why you are a starseed. Now, what does this look like? Well, you've already seen it and you're watching it right now. You're seeing more people show up on your communicative platforms, your social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. You're seeing more people like Joshua here, making telepathic connections, channeling, whatever you want to call it, sharing very mystical and abnormal experiences. You're seeing that more and more with all individuals all around the globe. It will only grow. It will only get more intricate and intensify. So you're seeing it happen already. What will this look like more so? Well, you might start seeing people, we'll start with the physical changes of a person that comes with this awakening and stepping into your new density and timeline. We briefly brought this up as well in the past, but we'll get a little bit more detailed. The eyes are often some of the first things to change. That could mean the eyes of these people are sort of bigger, more pronounced maybe. Okay, more crystalline. Like when you look into their eyes, it almost feels more like you are connecting deeper, more intimately with their soul. Their eyes are more crystalline. There's more of a loving compassion there within their eyes. Almost like a seduction too, but not in a negative way. There will be more of a comfort in those people's eyes. A lot of you starseeds. Yes, 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 yes. Okay? Some of you will have some dramatic physical changes. Your skin color might be changing. Or change here in the future. It depends where you want to align, soul-wise. If you're wanting to connect more with a past life, past cosmic roots. But we won't get too much into the psychology there. Some of you will see your hair grow. Some of you will see your hair color change. Some of you, your aura and body sort of expression and language is changing, will change. You will be retaining and holding and being surrounded by more light. You will be able to retain and hold more light. You will be surrounded by more light. And so this is going to come across. It's going to reflect. So, with your abilities, those supernatural abilities, of course, telepathy. Some of this, you'll see more of this being proven, more examples, more sort of just yes. You'll see more people with proving these examples, okay? For example, and this will help you make the connection why telepathy is so vast and important and why it changes everything. So, example. You will eventually see people holding a flower or a mushroom or the seed of a flower or the spawn of a mushroom. Okay? Then they will telepathically connect with that seed of the flower, that spawn, mushroom spawn. They will connect with it. They will speak to it. They will exchange frequencies and vibrations with it. You see, telepathy. They will encourage it and ask it to grow. You will see the manifestation of these flowers or mushrooms literally growing to prime, to full growth before your eyes. People will be showing off these supernatural abilities. It's a little further down the line, sure. You have to get past some of these other things, the healing, breaking illusions, and the telepathy connection. But yes, you will be so connected soon that you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to speak to the seed and grow it. Right there, in a matter of seconds, in a matter, in the beginning it may take a few minutes. But that's just limitation. You'll be able, this will be common with many of you. You will be able to speak and communicate with these plants and the seeds in this way that you'll be able to manifest and grow food or flower in a matter of seconds. And that manifestation that just appears to be magical, appears to be just manifesting out of thin air, it all relates to telepathy and your heart and your brain coherency. And reaching that integration point of the two within yourself, your environment, integration, unity, balance, heart and brain coherence, key to telepathy. And therefore manifesting like we just explained. This is how it will start to show. These are beautiful and more vibrant examples of what it will look like. Connecting more with the supernatural abilities Now, you Starseeds, it'll be more like remembering, okay? Because you have done this before on other planets and other lifetimes. Some of you in the Atlantean age, yes, some of that was being done during the Atlantean times. But then there was a battle of technology. We won't get into all that right now, though. But you see, it'll be for a lot of you Starseeds simply a remembering. And therefore you will be able to pick up on telepathy and the manifestation and all that quicker. Because you're just remembering. Now, a lot of these younger souls, we'll call them, or new souls, or those who might be in a deeper sleep, deeper illusion, it will take time. It will take some more time. But for them, it won't be a remembering, you see. For the vast majority of the population on Earth, it won't be a remembering. It will be more new. Therefore, it will take longer, you see. We believe we should leave it at this. Many of you seekers here are doing so well. Do not give yourself such a hard time. Do not, as we have explained and cautioned before, do not rush the ascension process. We know many of you who are at this point of knowing and awareness, you're excited. You are curious. You want to learn. You want to ascend quickly and fast because you are like, you're like a child who just figured out a new toy or method of play. We understand, but you still need to give yourself the time and the processing and energy you require. And again, just listen to your body, listen to your spirit, listen to your body. It will tell you when you need to rest, when you need to stop, when you can seek more, when you can practice, play more with this. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Begin to trust others more. Much love to you. We, the Rays of Prometheus, are excited to connect with you, engage with you more. Farewell for now. Woo. All right. Just kind of regrounding, getting my bearings here. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I'm aware, of course, of the messages that came through, what I just translated to you. And yeah, it's just so exciting and fascinating. It's a lot to sort of process, isn't it? I feel like it is, but it's also like, it is familiar. If you're a starseed, if you're here and you're a starseed like me, it's familiar because we're starting to remember, but then it still feels kind of distant, right? All of this knowledge and where we're headed, what the ascension looks like here. But yeah, it's so, I don't know what else to say. It's just really cool. But you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this and get myself a little extra grounded, reground, whatever. But yeah, just share your comments and your thoughts below. For the other information, links to the last channeling that I did with the Lyrans, my website, and some of the blogs information, you know, that I've released that is centered around some of what's been shared in this video. You know, all that blah blah will be in the descriptions box. So look below in the descriptions box. And yeah, this has been lovely, and I look forward to doing it again and sharing with you guys again. Talk to you soon.